Happening now, the latest in COVID-19 vaccine availability changes in New York, plus an update on the back and forth over a voting site's future here in downtown Jamestown.
Well, the sun is out for today, and we're going to have one more day of that tomorrow, but be prepared for some big Arctic air next week. We'll talk about it next. The news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. After coming under fire from some Jamestown City Council members for not renewing their participation as a polling site in elections, the National Comedy Center is now calling for a meeting to discuss that matter face-to-face. In a statement to us this morning, Executive Director of the NCC, Journey Gunderson, says the group has been advised that they could not legally hold the polling site because they have a liquor license. She says the group would consider restoring its polling site upon receiving verification that it would not be illegal to do so. Several council members voiced their displeasure regarding the decision, which calls for the Chautauqua County Board of Elections to look for a different location for the city's Ward 3 voting site. City Councilman at Large Jeff Russell was one of the outspoken members on the issue. He says that the National Comedy Center is doing a disservice to the city of Jamestown and its taxpayers. We'll, of course, continue to follow this story for developments and post updates online at WNYNewsNow.com. Well, restaurant workers and for-hire drivers in New York State may soon be eligible to get the COVID-19 vaccine. During an announcement yesterday, Governor Andrew Cuomo says he is leaving the decision up to counties if those workers should be added to the list of people eligible to receive it. If counties take up on the governor's offer, that would mean another major expansion of the eligibility rules, even as New York struggles with an extremely limited short supply of vaccine doses.
If they want to add developmentally disabled facilities, if they want to add taxi drivers, Uber drivers, restaurant workers, they can do that if they think it works within their prioritization locally. In other words, some localities have already done a large percentage of their police, their fire, their teachers. And they do have flexibility. There is no one-size-fits-all here.
He says the federal government is signaling it will send New York 20% more doses for the next 3 weeks, meaning more doses for counties. His administration didn't release any more details on how many doses it will send to those counties, though. Many New Yorkers have faced challenges with making vaccine appointments over the past month, with county leaders saying they've received fewer doses from Cuomo's administration than expected. The restaurant industry, which has pushed to reopen indoor dining in New York City, applauded Cuomo's announcement. Chautauqua County has not yet specified if those fields would be included on the list. Well, the remains of the police officer killed during the Capitol riots lied in state this morning as lawmakers paid their respects. Investigators still struggling to build a federal murder case and House leaders working to pass a new rule on safety. Britt Conway with the latest on this from Washington for us.
The remains of U.S. Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick lying in honor at the Capitol, the 5th private citizen to be honored this way. President Joe Biden and his wife Jill paying their respects. The president shaking his head. And it seems federal investigators are doing the same as they struggle to build a murder case because of a lack of evidence linking a specific act to Sicknick's death as he defended the Capitol during last month's insurrection. Tension here is still high, remembering what happened that day.
I hide behind my door,
But if a local government
like
is now
this.
getting more,
Security has tightened, and there are metal detectors now, but the new protocols frustrated some lawmakers, frustrating House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in turn.
And the enemy is within the House of Representatives.
Now there's a new rule
or
that just passed on the House floor,
disabled
fining any
facilities,
member who doesn't complete security
or
screenings before
restaurant
entering the
workers,
House chamber.
they have that
$5,000 the
flexibility.
first time,
And again,
$10,000
they
if
are
it happens
getting
again.
more, so
With Pelosi saying in
theoretically,
part, quote, the people's house
they would have
must
additional
and
supply
will
to
be
make
safe
those
so that
decisions.
we can
But that's
honor
going to
our
be up to the
responsibility
local
to do
government
the
to
people's
add
work.
in the
And
1B
Massachusetts
category
Representative Jim
if
McGovern
they
spoke
think
up
it
on the
makes
issue
sense.
too, saying some members on the other.
All right, Britt, thank you. Investigators also appear to be struggling to build a federal murder case in the death of that officer. They're frustrated with a lack of evidence that can prove someone caused his death. Well, back here at home, in one of his first actions as Jamestown High School's principal, Dana Williams took to social media, warning students that they need to have their cameras turned on and participate in their Zoom classes. Williams telling WNY News Now that only about 17% of students had their cameras on during last semester's classes, and most of those students had grades of 75 or better. He says the other 83% did not have their cameras on and didn't participate in class. Of those students, 40% had failing grades below 65. Williams warned students they have no excuse about being in class and ready to participate.
A lot of you say, well, I just woke up, and I'm not out of bed yet, so I don't want to have my camera on. That's not an excuse. I mean, regular school year, you got to get up, get ready, get to school. Do the same thing when you have an online class. Get up and get ready. Be ready to participate. Have your camera on.
He says he and his officials will continue to monitor the number and react accordingly. If the issue does persist, parents will be contacted to discuss the matter. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now as we get a check of headlines that matter to you on this Wednesday. And we always love hearing from you. Let us know what you think about these stories and more in the comments down below. Great to see Ruth. Good to see Jennifer, Dan, Diane, Reva, and Jason as well. Hopefully you all are having a good day. Well, now let's switch gears a bit and get a first check of our weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us live with that. And Dakota, the story across the region today is this beautiful sunshine out there.
Yes, we do. We have the sunshine out there, and it's almost full sunshine for some parts of the area. This is a live look over the Warren City Bank in downtown Warren. Temperature 28 degrees out there right now. And yeah, you can see that sunshine out there, and it is looking nice. And the temperature is actually not as bad as they were, and temperatures are going to start a slow uphill climb before they go right down the cliff. Once again, satellite and radar composite just shows you, yeah, that's that leading edge of that nor'easter. Look at that snow, kick on out of here. And the satellite and radar composite basically is dry across the area. And there's an area of high pressure that is built in across the Ohio River Valley. That is going to keep us dry through tomorrow. Then changes are on the way for Friday. 6 inches of snow on the ground at the airport. Our seasonal total at 40.5. Still way below the average for the date right now. 26 was the high yesterday. We started the day at 20. 58 and 11 below zero are the record highs and lows for this date at the Jamestown airport. And I just hit the wrong button. So let's fast forward through that. And through the afternoon today, a mix of clouds and sunshine, a bit breezy, a little bit chilly. The wind chills will likely be in the upper teens to the lower 20s through the day, 25 to 34. But look at this healthy northwest wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Some wind gusts 25 to 30. Tomorrow will be a great day, and then it all goes downhill as we go through Friday afternoon into the weekend. We're talking bone-chilling wind chills possible by next week. We'll talk about it in a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota's certainly going to want to get ready to bundle up. Thank you. Well, the New York State Attorney General's report on nursing homes during the pandemic found issues with the way nursing home deaths were handled, but it was not the only problem discovered. The report also highlights significant understaffing issues. New York State Capitol correspondent Karina Campabianca explains new legislation that aims to help address it now.
We have seen this year what happened in long-term care facilities and also acute care facilities. We see that there's a burnout rate from nurses. They're leaving the field.
And in order to reduce the issue of understaffing in healthcare facilities, Assemblymember Eileen Gunther is sponsoring the Safe Staffing for Quality Care Act. The proposal has bipartisan support in the state legislature and the support of the New York State Nurses Association. The concept is to have enough staff at healthcare facilities to properly take care of patients.
It's going back and forth from sending patients with COVID from nursing homes to hospitals. Then hospitals got overwhelmed. They were told to send them back to their nursing homes. And even the transfer process patients died because neither place was capable of caring adequately for these patients.
The New York State Nurses Association says the legislation would set nurse-to-patient ratios by unit at hospitals, and at nursing homes it would set minimum care hours per resident per day.
It's critical to have enough hours of care for these patients to be able to not only provide for what they ask for, but to predict what they might need, because they can't always advocate for themselves.
While some argue that if the legislation is approved, facilities would need to hire thousands more healthcare workers while there's already a shortage driving up wages, Sheridan Gonzalez says it would incentivize nurses and draw more to the field.
I'm sure they would come back if they knew that they were going to practice under safe conditions and be able to provide the hands-on care that they went into the profession to provide.
The bill passed through the Assembly Health Committee this morning and now heads to the Codes Committee. In Albany, Karina Capabianca.
Karina, thank you. There's now a call for the federal government to take action over the AG's investigation into those nursing home deaths. Well, a local state senator is applauding a $1 million travel stop, which is expected to break ground this spring in Ripley. Officials with the Love's Travel Stop and Country Stores gave a presentation on the project during the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency board meeting last week. The $13 million project is slated to be built on a 16-acre parcel off of Shortman Road, the first stop in New York State off of Interstate I-90. New York State Senator George Borrello, who has advocated for developments in that area when he was county executive, says this is a great start to developing the area.
The vision was, how do we turn this into what it should be, which is the entrance to New York State that we can all be proud of. The folks in Ripley have worked very hard. The town supervisor, the town board, everyone there has gotten behind the idea of making Ripley a true destination for people once they enter New York State. And this Love's Travel site will be the first and hopefully many improvements.
Borrello says he's still pushing to develop his previously proposed Ripley Gateway Center, which would highlight distinctive products and other agricultural goods from the area. He says post-pandemic, he'll advocate for funding for the project at a state level. The Love's development is expected to create around 100 construction jobs and another 43 full-time positions once it opens. Officials with the development spoke to the IDA seeking a preliminary agreement for real property tax abatement and a sales and use tax exemption. Well, next here, Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell joining us live next to talk about a program to honor frontline workers and an update on the county's vaccination effort. And later, a look at how this sunshine, how long it will be sticking around. That and more as WNY News Now continues on this Wednesday.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
Honest John's has what you're looking for. When you want it good, we're gonna give you lots more.
From freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has what you're looking for. And now 2 great locations, East 2nd Street and Fairmount Avenue. Order takeout or delivery today online at honestjohns.pizza.
You're gonna get it good at Honest John's.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Remember when you were a kid, huddled around the television waiting for your school to close? Well, we don't get snow days. When winter weather hits, count on the First Defense Weather Team for a look into the future where the snow is headed next. Live radar showing you the scope of the storm. And real-time reports from the field. So when it matters most, stay with First Defense Weather.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now. You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. Yesterday, leaders in Chautauqua County announced they're seeking to highlight frontline workers who have spent almost a year providing life-saving services during the pandemic. Joining us on the broadcast is Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell, who's working with his COVID-19 response team to lead the effort. Executive Wendell, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time.
Always pleasure having you.
So what does this new initiative aim to do?
What we're trying to do is recognize, as we said, those frontline workers who have been, working very diligently. Some behind the scenes, some in the very front line, in front of the scenes throughout this COVID pandemic. As we started early on, we were recognizing businesses. Jamestown Plastic with his True Hero face shield, Pace's Pizza, with buying a pizza, and they would match it to, local doctors' offices, nurses, ED, police department, fire, etc. Great efforts from businesses, but now we want to recognize those individuals who've been doing this, like you said, for the last year. Since this came out, we already have 10 names that came into my office this morning actually. So we have had a lot of response, and we're looking to recognize those individuals for everything they've done. And it's a thankless job, but we want to make sure that it's appreciated by everybody, especially my staff and my COVID-19 response.
Now, I imagine when you think of frontline workers, we think of the hospital workers, right? The firefighters, police, EMS. But are there others who qualify for this as well? I know we've had people who maybe worked at a grocery store or a local restaurant who have been on the front lines providing services throughout.
Certainly, and this is for anybody that anybody they believe is a hero. There's no qualification that you must be employed here or this must be your profession. As you said, some of our waitresses locally in diners and coffee shops that have been working around the clock in many cases, they're just as valuable as our nurses and doctors. And we all look at things differently. And we're not trying to say one group is better than the other, but there are a lot of people that are frontline workers who this is a chance for us to recognize them. Again, there's a lot of people that stand behind the plexiglass at Wegmans every day of the week, and everybody for that matter. So. If there's somebody you feel who's been your hero throughout the COVID effort, feel free, please submit their name and we'll be recognizing them.
So what's the best way for people to make those nominations?
There's two ways. One is going to the county website, chqgov.com, or to get the form directly, it's chqgov.com/form/COVID-heroes. And they'll be able to fill it on. It's very interactive, very easy to use. And submit that to myself, and we will get that to the team. And really excited to see the names of people, that people are nominating. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, certainly, and we'll make sure to provide a link to that in a story on our website so people can have direct access to it. Once you do have a list of nominees generated, how would they be recognized? What's the plan to bring the attention to it?
We're still coming up. I do daily videos. We definitely will be putting those up. If we have pictures, if people want to send a picture, we'll put that picture up as best we can. We're still trying to develop actually all the technical ways of what we can do, but definitely at the very least, certificates from my office, as well as, the recognition in my video, but trying to find some pictograph way to let people see who they are. Again, we may know people, with different means. My grandfather used to call everybody Carbide Charlie. So there may be somebody that you have a nickname for, somebody that works, whether they're at a Crosby's or a convenience store or Wegmans, somebody and somebody just say hi. It's good to see. Yeah, I never knew who that person was. I never knew their name. So it'd be a good way to recognize people throughout the community for all they've done.
Yeah, certainly, and we've all had our own experiences with this pandemic in the last year now, really, and a lot of those heroes, we don't maybe think of them as heroes because of whatever their job might be. You not to say that they're any more important than, say, a firefighter or a nurse, but nevertheless, somebody who is out there providing an essential service, like a Wegmans employee who maybe, at times, I know during the COVID press conference updates, you discussed this at good length, is that a lot of these people are kids, and they're just trying to do their best in helping customers when maybe there isn't a certain high value product like toilet paper or something like that people were trying to get their hands on at the time.
Certainly, yeah, definitely.
So, well, switching gears a little bit here, I wanted to ask you about the vaccination process right now in the county. Yesterday, the governor announced that restaurant workers and some for-hire drivers may soon be eligible to get the shot, but he's leaving that decision up to counties. Does Chautauqua County have plans to include those workers in the vaccination category now?
Well, we're looking, and what people need to realize is, we're looking at, restaurant workers in New York City. What people need to realize is this, I have yet to be approached by the taxi cab drivers union here in Chautauqua County or the collective bargaining unit asking for help. We don't have taxi drivers of great number, let's even say Erie County. What's concerning for my staff and our COVID-19 team, we talked about it this morning, is the governor puts this out and saying, well, it's in the hands of the local health departments. Well, you know what? The state has micromanaged everything from the beginning and had strict guidance. Why now all of a sudden is it up to the local health departments to make a decision? It's a concern for me that when things start to unravel, when things aren't going in the direction the administration likes, then we're going to give control to the local health departments. With the vaccination process, the local health department should have been there from the very beginning. Not the group that they punt to now to try to come up with a solution. So it's very frustrating, and not that we are slighting those individuals at all or those professions, but we still have people in Chautauqua County who are over the age of 65 with comorbidities. We have people that are cancer patients, people that have organ transplants, people that have other comorbidities that because they're under the age of 65 don't qualify. We need to take care of the people most vulnerable. And that's the key to this, and that's what our group is focusing on. We are not shortchanging anyone or anybody, but what we're focusing on is those are most vulnerable. If we want to keep people out of hospitals, we need to keep people that are out in the public, people that are not eligible yet, that have those comorbidities, who really could end up in the hospital because of getting COVID. That's the group we need to focus on. An Uber driver who's 35 years old making some extra money, okay, but are we going to vaccinate a group then, and we're going to forsake people that are cancer patients, they don't meet the qualifications now, or organ transplant patients that don't meet the qualifications? I mean, we have a large number of people. But Justin, the other piece that people need to realize and focus on is what has just happened. Potentially, we know there's a shortage of vaccine. The governor has said it, everyone has said it. When we added the 65 and over category, we added up to 7 million people eligible. We don't have the vaccine for that. So let's say there's another 2 million people eligible as taxi cab drivers and restaurant workers. We don't have a vaccine for that. We are adding to the number of people who are eligible when we don't have the vaccine. And trust me, as you know, and people that are out there listening, very, very frustrated how to get a vaccine. Some people telling me they have to drive as far as Rochester and Syracuse to get a vaccine from the state-run facility because our county is very, very controlled as to who we can vaccinate through the county health department. So the micromanaging from the governor's office is it's happened along, and it's very challenging for us. But at the same time, you're adding more people to the eligible list when we don't have a vaccine. That is not the proper way to manage it.
Yeah, and that was actually my next question, is the frustrations from people who are eligible right now, like those 65 and older who maybe do have a comorbidity where if they had COVID-19, complications would be worse. How do you want to see the process managed? Because it does seem like now there still is so much confusion as to how many vaccines are we going to get, what is that going to look like, how many slots will I have open for appointments, and people are just confused and frustrated.
Very much so, Justin. Way back at the beginning of this vaccination process, the governor kept saying, and everyone from their office, schedule out as far as you can, and we heard people were scheduled out as far as April. We took the position here with my team, we will not set up the slots until we have vaccine. Erie County, Cattaraugus County, multiple counties receiving strong criticism that they had to cancel vaccination clinics. We knew that was going to happen. That's why we didn't do that. We did not schedule vaccine when we didn't have it. Now the governor has changed scope, which is understandable that method wasn't working. Now we're not going to schedule people several weeks out, only schedule when you have vaccine. What my belief is, and many feel this throughout New York State, let this go to the professionals, and that is our local health department. They have plans that have been developed for years. This is their Super Bowl. They are waiting to show everybody their method, how they can do this quickly and effectively. We had 700 people or more vaccinated at JCC last week, and we have not stopped getting compliments. The coordination with Daniel DeMart and his staff at JCC, Barry Swanson, everyone at the athletic complex, George Sisson, worked out great. The governor's office loves this site. JCC is phenomenal. They're saying, we are going to push. The problem is we don't have vaccine. If we are allowed to have a vaccination site at JCC, I guarantee you we can get 700 or more people through that a day. But the governor has to give the opportunity to those who do it the best. That is our local health departments. I've said it at the beginning. I will continue to say that. The hospitals have had concerns that they're capable, but it's not their wheelhouse. Put this in the hands of those who can do it. H1N1, they proved themselves. They can do it again. I know they can. And that's local health departments throughout. Not to mention the Chautauqua Center, our doctors, our local physicians, everyone. But once this vaccine comes, with all respect, the governor needs to step back, let the professionals do their job. And I guarantee you, we will get our residents vaccinated quickly and efficiently.
All right, Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell joining us today. Sir, we appreciate your time and your insight on this.
Thank you so much, Justin. Always a pleasure.
All right, well, now let's get a check of our weather.
First Defense Weather is sponsored by 42 Degrees and Sunny, smoking deals on smoking accessories. Learn more at 42degreesandsunny.com. That's 42degreesandsunny.com. All right, out there, we had some fresh snowfall out there this morning. Let's go in and take a look at it. These are the snowfall totals ranging from yesterday afternoon from this morning. Cattaraugus in Cattaraugus County, 4 inches. 4 inches also in Little Valley, 2.5 in DeWittville, 1.1 here in the city of Jamestown, about 0.08 of an inch in Kennedy, 0.5 inch in Falconer, and 0.02 of an inch in Olean. And hey, the good news is the snow is done with. For now, we have a little bit of sunshine out there as well. And hey, the snow is also good for the ski resorts out there. 12 to 48 inches. Peak and Peak, 8 to 16, Cockaigne, 22 to 62. The Valley out there, 32 in Hollymont, 12 to 36 in Mount Pleasant and Edinburgh, and all the bases are looking great as well. 27 as a noon hour, but look at this healthy northwest wind of 20, and that brings the wind chill down to 13, and you've actually seen the camera bouncing a little bit with the wind as well. So let's take a look at the satellite and radar composite. Really nothing going on across western New York and northwestern Pennsylvania. High pressure built in across the Ohio River Valley. That's the northeast that's moved off that's the nor'easter that moved off the northeast coast. So future scan will take you through, show you the cloud cover through the day today. So this might be a bit overdone. There will be a few more peaks of sunshine than what the model is projecting. Clouds are going to start to fill back in tonight. Then tomorrow, yeah, look at this. You can see the cloud cover starting to break away, and there it is. We may get into full sunshine for at least a period tomorrow afternoon before clouds return out ahead of our next storm system. And that is the next thing we're keeping an eye on here. That's our next weather maker as we go down the road. Big upper trough is going to dig in, bring in Arctic air from Canada. And, we talk about this a lot, but this is truly going to be the biggest hit of Arctic air we've seen so far this winter. So here is a new segment called Dee's Discussion. And so this is what I'm thinking for next week. The core of the Arctic air is going to arrive on Sunday. Lake effect snow is going to develop off the eastern end of Lake Erie with a robust wind. The highs next week likely in the lower teens with single-digit lows, and dangerous wind chills could be likely. We're talking sub-zero wind chills. Too early to know any details, but that is something we'll keep you updated throughout the rest of the week. Inland areas today, we might squeeze out 30 depending on your exact location, but enjoy the sunshine. Next 7 days coming up right now, brought to you by 42 degrees and sunny, and 38 tomorrow. The sun is back. Temperature falls on Friday, 35 and falling. Scattered lake snow Saturday and Sunday, and look at as the bitter cold returns into next week. The show, the news will continue 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and also on our mobile app for Android and iPhone. We'll be right back here tomorrow at noon. See you then. Have a good day.